Verano 1 goal, Mantha 2 goals. We're still trying to figure out who won that trade.
Right.
I'm Chris.
I'm Josh.
This is Wingscast, and today we're gonna talk about who of the younger, we're gonna call them kids, I guess, just to make it
They are kids.
easier for everyone. Um, who makes the opening night of the 21-22 roster?
Right.
Who's gonna see some games? Who probably doesn't see any games, and who has no way of seeing games.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is going to depend on coaching. It's probably going to be our best guess, I guess. How do you want to play this out? Do you want to go who we think personally or based on coaching? Because what we think and what coaching thinks obviously is completely black and white.
Yeah, I think just kind of go off what you think. I mean,
Okay.
who knows, what Blash is going to do when he gets extended. Um,
You think?
for 10 years probably.
You think?
No,
Honestly, do you
I
think?
hope not. I
Well,
don't know.
he said he was going to meet with him briefly. Is that you're out. Here's your contract for whatever you're going to do next.
I don't know.
There's no way he goes to
I think
another
I think they're
NHL team.
playing better recently, and I don't know how that's going to affect. I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. It pains me.
Oh,
Okay,
terribly.
so let's say opening night 21-22. Obvious. They have the obvious ones. There's Zadina and Rasmussen. Rasmussen's playing
Right.
better.
Yeah. Using
I,
his body a little bit more.
I think.
He's
I think.
back at center too. So
Yeah.
instead of playing him on the wing, he's actually where he's supposed to be.
Yeah. I think. Playing center is kind of giving him some confidence. Maybe to do.
Well, you talked about it too. He's a step behind it. It seemed like now that he's back to where he's supposed to be, maybe it's more of like, okay, I know how to play this.
Yeah, maybe. I
You
don't
know.
know. He's been driving the net. He looks good. I think obviously those two are up. I mean, they're Rasmussen is waiver eligible, so he's going to play.
Yeah, absolutely. He should play. I think was he waiver eligible. How many years he got left on his ELC?
Let's see. This is last year, so he'll be an RFA. That's
They'll
interesting.
qualify him.
Oh,
Have
of
to.
course, of
They
course
have to
they will.
qualify him
Of
now.
course they will. There's no doubt there. Zadina Rasmussen. I think Sider's kind of a no-brainer.
Oh, absolutely. The only reason they don't bring Cider, I think, is because of injury, or they pick up a big name in free agency.
You
That
think they're
kind of
going?
flips them
You think
out.
they're going to Hamilton?
If they do, I mean, I wouldn't mind the pickup. I think it would probably
I
shore
think
up.
that's too soon. You're going to affect the pick next year too much. And
He'll go to a contender. He's gonna want to win another cup. I think he won with Boston, right? So I think
oh, he's not that old, is he?
I think he's close to 30, if not 30 or above 30, 32.
They won in what 10?
I think so.
I don't think he was there. All right, so I say Cider. I think Chalowski is on the opening night roster only in that he's first round pedigree. I think they're going to continue to try to get him going.
They need to put this guy either out of his misery or commit to him, because this has been the biggest no. We have no idea what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen with the rest of these guys, Berggren, Foligno. We know what's going to happen. We have no idea what's going to happen with Chalowski. It's like,
I just
okay, is
don't,
he going to play? He's playing BP1, some of it. He's quarterbacking the plane with the Griffins, and then he comes up and it's just vanilla. But I mean, maybe he gets a couple games. There's just so many what ifs there.
I mean, he's one of the few guys that I'll agree with. Like his play should determine what happens to him because I mean he's so hot
Sure.
and cold. He does a lot of good stuff. He does a lot of just crazy. Like, what are you doing, Chalowski? Like, what's going on? So I
Like
don't know.
Philp of the blue line, probably, right? At times.
I hope he's not that bland. I think we kind of divided on Svechnikov. I said he'll probably get a few games. I think he's healthy scratch territory. He is waiver eligible, obviously, because he is right now. They might waive him again. I don't know.
I think
They've jerked this kid around a lot. So
it's kind of like the Mantha thing. Let this kid go or just commit to it, which, I mean, I think they let it go to camp. I think we'll have our answer during camp, because if he actually puts in the effort in the offseason, gets healthy, puts maybe a couple pounds of muscle back on him to kind of rehab, because obviously I don't think he's 100%. I mean,
uh,
you just don't come back from that injury and just be 100%.
I don't know if he's
You're going to
100.
need an off season, at
Well,
that point.
yeah, but I mean, he's put a lot of time in the weight room.
Probably
He's a
more.
big dude.
He's a good skater, fantastic shot, and I think he's a very good facilitator. But with that being said, it's going to be tough to make that roster next year for him. But I do think he does. I think he's a bottom, because I mean, you got Glendening that's probably gone, right?
Well, we can hope.
And Helm,
Helm should be gone. Philpo should be gone. Nielsen's a scratch probably,
yeah.
if not waived.
Does he get a protection clause on him?
Who's that?
Nielsen?
Nielsen? Not in his final year, no.
Okay, then you don't protect him, right?
Well,
Next year's his final year?
he doesn't have to be protected anyways. He doesn't have any movement.
Oh, okay, yeah. So don't
That's
protect him.
yeah.
I'm protecting Svech. There's too much upside to him over Nielsen. So
Well, really, it's going to come down between. So right now, Ernie, I think, is getting protected. He's, I mean,
I'd
Eiserman
have to see
traded
this
for
cool
him.
off. I'd have to see this guy cool off a little bit to see what's going on, man. We were complaining about him last year. Just like why is he here? You know, but
Okay,
then he takes off a little bit.
he's taken off quite a bit. I mean, for what he is, you traded a fourth round pick for the guy.
Right.
I think he's got 11 goals now.
What's essentially Fabry, right?
Yeah, he's essentially Fabry, everyone's happy with Fabry. I don't know how you could also be unhappy with Ernie at this point.
How much does he cost?
I don't know that off the. I mean, it'd be cheap. He's a
That's what I'm
his
saying. It's like, what
qualifications
are we
not
gonna?
much.
How much? Somebody's gonna pay for him, right?
What do you mean?
So, well, here's the thing:
Well,
is
he's an
he?
RFA, so I
So
mean
he's
he's
an
not. So
RFA.
it's just basically
You
on us.
qualify him. He probably goes to arbitration. Do they go to arbitration in RFA too? They have that conversation.
He has arbitration eligibility, I believe.
So they're probably going to go to arbitration. Same thing they did with Pertuzzi, and they're going to let the arbitrator decide what that's going to be. Right? That's my
Well,
guess on that.
they'll let him elect that because then they'll get the 2 years and they'll get a look at him.
Right.
But they will protect him from Seattle. There's no way you leave.
There's no way Seattle picks him up.
Why not?
Because I mean, if you don't protect Svech, if you don't protect Smith, who are you taking out of those three?
The only one that's actually shown so far.
I think Smith probably. You
Well,
get the upside there. He's got more
I don't think
upside than I
so.
think Ernie does.
Yeah, but you got to build a good bottom of your lineup too. I mean, and Ernie kind of steps in and plays, obviously as he has on a bad team as it is.
He's a second liner on our team. Think about that.
That just speaks to how bad our team is.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I just think he's going to cool off, and it's going to be back to how he kind of hides in the bottom of the lineup.
I guess here's my thing with him: like Eiserman of maybe all the talent that
Well,
Tampa
Eisman
had.
drafted him.
Eiserman drafted him,
Right.
and then he traded for him after he came here.
Right. But I mean,
So
he traded for him.
Eiserman likes the guy.
This is all. Oh, I'm sure he does. I mean, I don't think the guy's a bad player. I just think he's going to cool off and kind of sit at the bottom of the thing. How old is he? In his 20s, of course, right?
He's not real old.
So, I mean, I think he
24?
sits at the bottom of the
23?
lineup, maybe replaces Glendening if he does stay, but I don't think he stays. And if he does, it's going to be through arbitration. I
Well,
still think Eichmann's still high in Svech because if he wasn't, Svech would be gone.
Svech could have been gone though. That's the thing. I mean,
Right.
Svech easily could have been
Well, we
gone.
talked about it too.
And they didn't worry about that.
Unless the only two people that been claimed Mite off of Montreal, right?
Yeah.
And then there was one other guy.
Well, we got Juice off waivers.
We got Juice. It's not even close. It's not even close. He's not going to be. He's gone. You know.
Yeah,
so
Juice is probably gone. But here's my thing. I'm just gonna say right now, Eiserman doesn't let Ernie go unprotected. So you're gonna be losing one of Smith or Svech, I think. That I take my prediction of DeKaiser away, and that's who Seattle's gonna take. They're gonna take Smith or Svech. Because that's basically the last two to protect there. So who do they protect? They've waived Svech twice.
What if Ernie craters here? Which I think he's going to crater here these last couple.
In what, 11 games?
Yeah,
I think he's gone above expectations as it is. So I don't
it's
think
a hot. I mean, a guy goes on a hot streak. You're gonna Nielsen comes back and he has the same thing.
But you know what Nielsen is? Nielsen's in his 30s and he's obviously on the down streak of his career. I mean, Ernie didn't play much in Tampa on a stacked roster.
Okay.
And now he's getting some time here. He was injured last year, had the concussion.
Same thing with Svech, though, right?
Well, especially over the concussion, he had the injuries. But I'm just saying, Eiserman likes Ernie. He's going to protect Ernie. So opening night, this team will not have Svech or Smith. One of the two at least.
They probably. I don't like Ernie. Honestly, I'll just be honest with you. I think it's just a little streak he's got going on here. You watch how he's predictable on the wing because I knew he was going to do that little stutter turnaround pass in the backhand right there, and it just happens to be there. Now, I really do think this has like been the best we've played in the last 2 or 3 years, honestly.
Okay.
Over this stretch thing, and I think that's just kind of feeding into it. Now, with that being said, I do think he's going to crater here in these next couple of games.
I don't know. What does crater look like? I mean,
I think
it's
going to be like
after
to see you negative 30, something like that. Obviously, he's not going to go negative 30 in 11 games, but it's going to be negative 10, negative 11. It's going to be, I think it's going to be that
such
bad.
a bad stat, though.
It's a terrible stat, but I mean, it is what it is. And they look at it. I think it goes to it goes to arbitration. They'll sign him for 2 years,
They're gonna,
and I
yeah,
don't think they should,
they're gonna
but
protect him though. So I'm saying Smith. Like we're talking about who's gonna make this roster. So I'm saying people are gonna say, "Oh, where's Smith?" And I think Smith is gone. I think they keep Svech, and they're gonna lose Smith to expansion. That's that's my prediction at this point.
yeah, I think so too, even though I don't want that to happen.
Okay, so now we're gonna talk. So those are the guys. So we said Zadina, Rasmussen, Sider, Chalowski
Mhm,
make the roster. And we're saying Svechnikov, healthy scratch, maybe
mhm.
gets waived. Who knows? But he should be around. Okay. Now there's gonna be some guys who are still waiver exempt. Guys like Veleno, Bergeron, um, maybe Chase Pearson. I mean, do you think they get a few games? Do you think they're up?
I think if that's my pick out of that pipeline. I mean, we've got it written here on a board, but I mean, at the same time, it doesn't look like a strong pipeline if you're looking at it like it is. But I mean, 'cause most
Well,
of the guys are super young, like you
yeah,
said.
the near term pipeline is. I mean, but then again,
It is
you don't have
nice,
the
yeah.
slots anyways, right? So
What I'm worried about with these guys is we're going to slow rolling like we did Mantha, and I think Mantha's probably going. Washington's probably going to win the trade at the end of all of this. You know, when these two guys' career ends, Washington probably wins this trade, honestly, because
it
next year
it depends what this first rounder is going to look like.
it does. You're right, absolutely right.
That's. I mean, if we're gonna talk about that trade again,
But
that's what it hinges on. But
yeah,
anyways, I mean, we're talking straight roster here. Who makes it? I don't think Veleno can. I think he's going to come back from Sweden.
I think they're going to slow roll Veleno. I really do. I don't really, if because we're talking about what we think, and I feel like I have this pit in my stomach. They're going to sign Blashill again, and even though I hope not, but Veleno is probably going to be slow rolled because of how our process is now. I hope Stevie knows enough to know like when to put a guy in a lineup who makes that call. With Berggren, Pearson, Hiroshi, I mean,
I
Berggren
think
is
her.
undeniably going to play. I think I forget a few.
Yeah, I think Bergen will be in the AHL to start, and then
Right.
I think that I think towards the trade deadline, maybe first call up, they got top six, injuries. I think Bergen could start to see some time, and maybe by the end of the year, he's made an argument to be on the team full time.
The taxi squad is that going to be there next year?
Uh, I don't
As
think
long as
so.
COVID's prevalent, right? So
Yeah, who can say on that? I'm not even gonna. But really, the taxi squad is down. The taxi squad is the AHL basically.
it's a paper move. That's what everybody says. Everybody gets pissed off, and I do too, because I think it's just like a confidence killer about the moving to the taxi squad. Here, you're out of the line at healthy scratch taxi squad. I think it's a confidence killer. I think it's. I mean, I
Well,
understand why it's there, but I don't think it does well for the mentality for the players
Well,
at all.
I think some of it, just talking about Taxi Squad, is that like I think it kind of sucks. Like you're these younger kids or whoever,
Right.
and you've worked your whole life to get to the NHL,
Right.
but now you're kind of an NHLer, but
Yeah.
you're also getting like docked the pay because you're on a two-way
Yeah, it's like
contract.
working. That's what I'm saying. Like you work for a union. Do you think that stuff flies when you work for a union? Yeah, we're just
The
gonna throw you
players,
when you're a TPT working on the line. They're like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna work here. We're gonna work you full time, but we're gonna give you that part time,
pay,
pay."
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, right. Go
that's
blow it up your ass, right?
but
So I think
that's the deal they got. I mean, so
the
the one who like of this group though that really kind of makes me interested more is like Chase Pearson, who
true
if we get rid of the Helms and the Glendennings and the
opens
Philpolas,
up a spot. You're right.
you're talking about that fourth line center role now, and maybe they sign someone, maybe they we go vetting it up again, and I mean you got Ponick now, right? So
That's true.
we got him for 2 more years after this, so he's probably going to be in that mix,
Hmm.
and he can play all right, but maybe Chase Pearson can get a look. I'd like to see that at least.
I'd like to
Hiroshi,
see what he can do at least. But that's the thing too. It's like again, we we had to be patient with Rass
yep,
on because he's starting to pick it up now a little bit. It's
yep,
exactly what we wanted when he first got up.
yep.
And it's like, is he going to get a good enough look?
Who's that?
Yeah,
Rasmussen?
or no, Pearson. If he gets up, let's see what the kid can do.
I mean,
Let's
I
commit
don't
to it.
think Chase Pearson has the offense to be a top nine player.
Oh, probably not.
I said this on our site. So I mean, really, you can't get too upset about these fourth line kind of fringe guys. Maybe he can, maybe he can't. That's like another guy like Hiroshi, like great playmaker, but
Just so
he,
mad. It's like
I
I don't
like I
know.
like Hiroshi. I like Hiroshi's game. I think he's great on the power play, but at the same time, it's does he bring enough of an all around game to make the roster night in, night out. And I don't know if Pearson can. I'd at least like to see them save, and this is something that has driven me crazy for years. I think you should be saving at least a spot or two in the bottom six of a terrible team that you can constantly cycle these younger guys, right?
Right.
And like, okay, this guy's he's not doing it, but he came up, he got a shot. We told him, hey, you really need to work on this. We're sending you back to Grand Rapids, and I'm bringing up the next kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. But
But
it's give them a good enough look. That's all I care about. Like I know
well,
it's 2 games, but you
for
need
some of these guys, like,
5.
you got to take the yeah, you get 5 games.
You need 5.
But for some of these guys, you have to get the slide, contract thing is, so that 9 games becomes a
Oh
deal
yeah, there's
breaker.
this thing. Yeah.
So there's some of that concern. For a lot of these guys, though, there isn't because their ELCs are basically ticking now, anyways. So, like, I think everyone we're talking about right now, Berger and Valente. Well, Berger isn't even signed yet. He will be. Um, the other kind of weird one is Lindstrom. If we're saying Chalowski makes the opening lineup, and I'm again we're projecting maybe right now one of Smith or Svechnikov to be taken in the expansion draft.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what are they going to do with Lindstrom? I mean, I think he's a good third pair. I
We
don't I
just
don't
need to
know.
do what he does, what Stetcher does. That's what we need him to do. Honestly, just like put a little bit into the coffer when it comes to goals, and just be middle of the road. And then if that's your expectation, and then he outperforms it, then you've stumbled into something. But with that being said, it's just you don't know what style's going to be next, and if it's Blashill, then we're just going to go through this miracle round of um, what
Defensive platitude.
defensive platitudes, like you
Yeah.
said, and it's
200-foot game. And
200-foot game, and it's going to be boring hockey in the third. And
Yep.
we're going to our turtle shell, and Lindstrom's not going to play. We're going to have Merrill back, and it's
I
just
like
going to.
Merrill.
I do too, but I mean,
Yeah, I
it's
get what you're saying. So I think Lindstrom will stay. He's kind of the wild card for expansion draft.
yeah,
But if I think if Smith's out there, they'll take him just for the entertainment factor. Um, so then I think a lot of people think, well, maybe Raymond gets a shot out of camp, and I think I don't think so. I think Raymond's going to play through
mhm.
another whole SHL season, especially after the injury at the end of this one. I think they'll give him time. They'll slide his contract another year, and
He'll be at camp though, right?
not usually. Usually the SHL guys, because the SHL starts so much earlier,
Okay.
they don't usually get to see NHL. He'll get prospects tourney probably in July, but he usually doesn't make it. They usually don't come to training camp because the SHL season starts a lot earlier.
Well, I think this is going to be Eisman's second best pick behind Sider, and I think if he comes in outperforms, I don't think they're going to waste any time. If it's up to Eisman here now, if we're going with the Blashill thing, we're gonna send
Yeah,
him to the ECHL for 3 years and bring him up, and just kind of plug him in here and there, But if he comes and outperforms in prospect tourney, I think he makes the team. But I'd like to see him probably in Sweden just to kind of see how he reacts to the injury.
yeah, and then they let him play in Sweden. Maybe he comes over kind of end of the season. Afterwards, get some GR time, maybe to kind of warm up for going into what that'd be 22, 23 then.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Albin Greve also is a guy who's you're not going to see next year. I think. Let's see. He
Yeah,
should be. He was with Cider draft. So, trying to think now.
I'd like to.
Um,
I just. I mean,
so he was Cider draft. So he should be AHL eligible, which I guess he was anyways. But they had him in the OHL for whatever reason. So maybe he'll get in there. See the AHL, but I don't think he's going to see any call ups. I think he's going to be kind of down the depth chart. He had the injuries. He got kind of he came over here for the OHL season. The OHL season canceled. I don't know if he's playing GR or not. To be honest with you, I'm not. I think he
I
is.
think he is.
I don't know how he's doing. I haven't really kept up with him at all, but I just think he's going to take some time. And then some of the other prospects out there, like Niederbach, there's a couple others. I think are just going to be further down. I don't think you're going to see him rush the Niederbachs, the Johanssons. Um, I think Sabrango has to go back to the OHL. I don't know how that's going to work because
Yeah.
he's playing AHL in lieu of the OHL season being, suspended. But I think due to the CHL agreement, he's got to be either in the NHL or in the OHL, which
I
is
don't even
which is
know.
a
There's so
weird
many damn different
which is a
rules.
weird situation to be in after you've basically played in the AHL, right? So
I hate to be a GM. do this.
I just hate
Oh
this.
yeah,
I hate
here's
the
the rules.
CHL
Let the
agreement. The
agreement.
CHL
Yeah,
agreement
I don't
sucks.
even know what the CHL agreement is besides what you
The
just told me
CHL
there.
agreement basically says that if you're a player from the CHL, you have to play the next 2 years in the CHL, whatever league you're in, or you have to be in the NHL. You cannot go to the AHL in your draft plus
The
one or
hell is
two.
that? Honestly,
That's
seriously though,
that's basically the purpose of that is just to make sure that the
CHL
CHL
players.
has good enough players to attract crowds and stay financially solvent. Which if every good player left the CHL after their draft year, it probably wouldn't draw the crowds. And
Well, you might as well go
CHL's
play college hockey, right?
you can't after that.
No, before. Why would you go CHL if you got to play? You're guaranteed 3 years there. Can't you come out of NCAA after your freshman year?
You can go to the NCAA whenever, yeah.
Yeah. So why wouldn't you just go to college, basically play for free?
Well, you can play CHL before you play. You can play NCAA though, because you can play at
So
16.
you can do one, but you can't do so you can play CHL then college, but you can't
No,
play college then
you can't.
CHL.
CHL is not considered an amateur league because you get like a stipend or something.
Oh, okay.
So you can't
These
go to the
guys
NCAA.
players are getting stipends and playing hockey, especially at Minnesota. Like you think those guys are paying players over there? Come on,
I
that
mean,
whole state of Minnesota's in the Frozen Four every year.
all right.
So, but anyway,
The other guy out there big is Johansson. I think he plays
man,
another year in
that's
Sweden.
yeah, I'll go with that.
You like Brome. I think he's done. I bet he goes back to where did he play? Brome played in Sweden? Or
Yeah,
he playing Finland? He played in Sweden.
I think he is Sweden. Yeah,
Yeah,
Finland
so
doesn't
I,
ring a
I think
bell.
I think he's gonna follow the other guys that we brought over. Got a
You
year.
think he'll be alone, or do you think they'll just pretty much let him go?
No, they'll let him go. He'll go back to making more money in Sweden.
You think he's there for the money? You don't think he just wants a shot?
Well, he got a shot and he got
Nobody
sent
goes
down, and
up
he's
for.
never gonna make it back
Oh,
up.
it's Blashill though. I
Yeah, but he
mean,
didn't do. He got 20 some games and got one goal. I mean,
it
that's just
is, but I mean,
not
it's
even
just
an assist. He did nothing else. He did nothing
different
else.
coach. I think if he's at camp,
No,
different coach. I think maybe,
no.
maybe.
There's enough maybes out there already. You don't
You
need
know what I'm
them.
saying, man. Look how bad Kenny ran this team for so many years. There's so many maybes on this team. Besides Zadina, Rass, Cider. That's it. That's a lot of the maybe. There's maybes. We don't know what Valeno's going to do. It's just
If
we're
Leno's playing
so
wing right now in
poorly
Sweden,
run team for so many years, and we had no idea because we were so enthralled with Ken Holland pulling all those trades from O2. If he had not had that O2 team with Hall and Robitaille, but still won the cup, I don't
well,
think he makes
if
it as
if
far as he does.
if we're I mean, the great debate of Ken Holland's legacy is it's a hell of an argument. But
Yeah, yeah,
if you if
it's
you
a
didn't
timeline.
if you didn't get the Zetterberg or Datsuk miracle picks, uh, you flame out mid 2000s and you're done anyways.
That's it. Yeah, and we don't win the cup in
You don't win the
eight.
cup in
We don't
08,
think we make the playoffs if we don't have those two guys,
probably not.
or if they don't pan out. No way we make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Absolutely no way.
So, anyways,
Yeah, I mean, we got sidetracked there, but I mean,
a lot of times.
so many maybes, and it's so frustrating looking at this team. Like our the guys that are on our site when we talk about it, it's just like there's maybe, well, he's this kind of player, he's this kind of player, and I look at some other pipelines and they have like picks in there. They're like, this guy will most likely, there is a 75% chance this guy will be up next year. We have that he's about around 60, 55, and it drives me nuts.
Yeah, you get like the Blash kind of facial expression, I don't know what's going on.
Right?
All right.
Yeah,
So, anyways, we said Zadina in, Rass Insider, Chalowski
no
in,
brainers.
Svech maybe. Valeno's going to see a couple games. Bergen's going to see a few. We hope Pearson does. I don't know what's going to happen with Hiroshi. I think Lindstrom's up, but he's going to be the 7th D. Raymond, Johansson, Niederbach, Soderblom, all those guys, they're staying in Sweden. Brome's going back to Sweden permanently. And Sabrango's OHL bound and Gervais in the AHL. Those are our predictions. Tell us why we're wrong. 'Cause I'm sure we will be.
Yeah, get on the site and tell us we're wrong.
Yep. Check us out, wingscast.com. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all those things. See you guys next time.
See ya.
Have a good weekend.